we're back and we're live. Oh my goodness. And I have all of my emotional support jewelry on. I feel like you can really tell how mentally unwell I am by how much jewelry I'm wearing. I feel like the more jewelry, like I even got ankle bracelets on today.
There's one bracelet for every mental breakdown she's had within the past couple of days.
Oh my gosh, what a time. What a time. So, obviously, if you've been with me, then you probably witnessed my very public meltdown, which, you know what, very liberating, like very freeing to have the meltdown publicly. And it's one of those things where a lot was building up to it, and I'm gonna get into all that today because today is gonna be some heavy topics. We're just really gonna dive into mental health. And first and foremost, I just want to remind everybody that this podcast is literally called Rock Bottom, which, just so in case you weren't with us on the first episode, like the reason I call this Rock Bottom is because I think I hit rock bottom at least 3 times a month. Like at least 3 times a month. And what I mean by rock bottom is like my mental health is just like completely bottom out, and I am just like trying to get back up. Because there's always that saying like, oh, once you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up, which still try to figure that out if that's true. But I call this rock bottom because I genuinely am trying to figure out my mental health in this life, and so I'm bringing you guys along on that journey. I think some people find it pretty cringe that I choose to be very like public about what I'm going through, which that's fine. If you don't like it, you don't have to follow. You can also have your opinions. It doesn't bother me anymore. I think for me, I find it very honestly like therapeutic to like have this like very open public forum with the world about what's going on. And just even like having had this recent meltdown on Monday, mm-hmm. And like the response that I got was insane, and we're definitely gonna kind of dive into that a little bit. But you know what, first let's do this. Let's check with you. How is your mental health right now? Because we know mine is on the rocks, so
Yours is kind of scary.
Mine is all over the place. So how are you feeling right now?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I think there's like, I don't know, I'm also one of those people where it's like, it takes a lot to like really get me down and like affect me. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it definitely like takes a lot. So I'm definitely more of like a happy-go-lucky person.
Yeah.
I definitely don't, like, I would say that's a big thing where like you and I differ, is like I don't deal with a lot of like the deep, dark, like,
unless we start talking about it.
Right.
Because you can't.
Then, once I start talking about death, it's over.
Yeah.
Nobody bring that up ever because I love it.
She cannot. So, like, I would say for
I
you.
Mine's more anxiety.
Yes, I was going to say
more
it's the anxiety.
100% anxiety.
Yeah.
And I think I'm also, you know what I think I'm realizing? When I was a kid, I think I 100% had OCD. And I'm totally TikTok diagnosing myself right now. But, like, when I was a kid, I used to do these things where, like, before I went to bed, I used to have to say, like, the same exact things in my brain, like, a certain amount of times before I would be able to go to sleep, or else I would be like, you're gonna die if you don't do that. Or, like, if you don't, like tap on, like, this desk, like, 3 times before you do this, like, you're gonna die. Or, like,
that's
if you don't do this, like, your mom's gonna die.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing this all over TikTok of people being like, I had this when I was a kid, did anybody else have it? And, like, I grew out of it. And it's so, yeah. And I totally grew out of it. Because when I was younger, whenever I would spend the night at my dad's, I would text my mom the exact same text message, and if I didn't type it out perfectly the first time, I would have to delete the whole entire thing and redo it, or else my brain was like, you're gonna die. Yeah.
Wait,
it was so crazy.
I don't mean to get political, but like, if anybody else in the 90s consumed red dye number 4, I'm just saying, that might be why we're all messed up. The new kids these days got it so good. They got the fucking granola moms that are like, you're not eating that because it has artificial dyes.
That's what my mom
I have purple
was.
ketchup. I eat right, okay? I need so much therapy, it's insane. Purple ketchup? I'm not right. Like, okay, the 90s kids are messed up for a reason. Shit was whack back then, okay?
No, I had the granola mom. I had only organic milk.
Yeah.
I'm actually not even going to put how old I was until I was breastfed. Nobody wants to know that. I literally had like those fruit, not the fruit roll-ups, but I had like the fruit flat stripe things that were like not real.
You didn't
get
get gushers?
No.
You didn't have gushers?
I didn't have a gusher until I was 15 years old.
Someone needs to do like an honest like mental health study on 90s kids that had like the purple ketchup, the gushers, the fruit by the foot.
What is purple? I've never heard of
I don't think you were alive yet. Ketchup literally came out, Heinz ketchup literally came out with purple ketchup in the 90s. And it was just purple dye that they put in the ketchup.
No, yeah.
They had like all the colors of the rainbow. Yeah. So I do think there might be some science behind that, and maybe that's something we need to dig into. But that's so interesting that you like grew out of this like anxiety phase.
But then it switched. It like turned into a different anxiety. Like,
Well, I mean,
it's like adult anxiety.
I don't think you ever get to live this life without some sort of anxiety.
Yeah, if you don't, I'm a little concerned.
I don't know what that's like.
So
that must be nice. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, like, I don't know. I just could never imagine not having a single care in the world. I couldn't imagine. Like, I couldn't imagine living a life where, like, anything could happen and you're just like,
okay.
Like, I couldn't
Last night we were on a hot girl walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, remember we passed that guy? It was nighttime.
Yeah.
And that guy was setting.
So
he was setting up his hammock. He was setting up his hammock.
He
doesn't have anxiety. That guy doesn't have care of the world.
He was like hammock between two trees.
I'm gonna sleep here tonight. That must be nice. I don't know what that's like. I couldn't do that first of all because I'm just a girl and I'd be worried about a rapist the whole night.
We literally walked past this guy and Liv was like, "Yeah, thank God I have my gun." And the guy literally was like, "I was like, you don't."
Oh my God.
I literally was like, yeah, and I got my pepper spray over here. What the hell?
Your freaking 10-year-old dollar store pepper spray ain't gonna save us. It's gonna spray your own eyeballs on accident. Oh my gosh. But
there's like an accidental hole in the back.
So, yes. So anxiety. I think that's definitely I think you and I both. I struggle with anxiety and depression. And also, I don't know how to diagnose this part, but I'm also just like a half glass empty kind of person.
And I'm not.
You're very like half full. So I don't know if that's like a medical diagnosis or if that's just a personality trait that I have where I'm just like, the world sucks and we're all gonna die. And that's just like my view all the time. But yeah, so I had a very public meltdown. I'm sure you guys were along for the ride. And also, big thank you to everybody that reached out to check on me. Like, I had a lot of text messages from friends that were like, girl, like, what do you need? What can I do to help you? It was just a compilation of shit that was going on that day. And it was like, not one particular thing. And there's a lot, you have to remember, there's a lot that I share publicly, but there's a lot that I don't share publicly. And so, like, there were other things going on behind the scenes that were just building and building. I literally felt like a volcano. Like, it was just all this stuff. And for me, a majority of my anxiety stresses from when I can't feel in control anymore. And so, like, that day, everything that was happening was out of my control. Mm-hmm. Like, the weather, the things that were going on at the office, the building, the homeless guy. You guys don't even know about that. Like, all the shit that was building was out of my control, and that's when I spiral. I spiral when I no longer have control of a situation. And I pulled into the driveway, and the boat captain, because I was supposed to have my engagement shoot on a boat, and the weather was terrible. Out of my control, obviously. Nobody can control that. Mother Nature, do your thing. But rude. Also, never done anything to her. And the boat captain called and he was like, we have to cancel because the weather is bad. I literally was like, okay. And I like hung up the phone and I literally was like, ah! And I was like, and I just started crying and Zach like came running out of the house and he was like, what's happening? I think he probably thought somebody died because I literally was not okay. And it can sound so over dramatic, and you know what? I don't care. You guys can, people can judge. People can be like, Olivia, first world problems. I get it, but you know what? Sometimes you just want to cry over something that seems so stupid, but like you just need a moment to just freaking let it out, and that's what I needed. And I decided in that moment, you know what? I'm gonna share this because earlier that morning, I had been talking about how excited for the engagement shoot I was, and I was only sharing the good stuff. I was like, look at me, I'm getting ready, I'm so excited for my photo shoot. But I wasn't sharing the emotional side of it, and I'm like, you know what, that was so unreal. Like, I'm just gonna be raw, and I'm just gonna let you guys know, I ain't good. Like,
I'm a fucking mess.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not okay. And I literally took, like, the craziest photo of me crying, and I was like, just like, it's okay. You can have a bad day. And, like, even yesterday, like, you did something at work. We're not going to talk about it.
I had a little mentee beat.
You did.
But here's the thing. Also, it was something I never do anything intentional.
Keyword.
Intentional. And it was a little boo-boo, but I think my biggest thing is, like, don't let this blow your head up. I am so lucky, honestly. I feel like to be, like, obviously Liv and I, like, started working together and became best friends, like, pretty, like, quickly, like, within the first, like, couple, like, months of me being there. But I definitely feel super lucky to be, like, where I'm at, because I think there's a lot of other, like, estheticians that might not get the opportunity that I had. And, like, I did work my ass off in school, and that's why my teacher, you know, recommended me to Liv. But, like, I have, like, this thing where, like, I never want anybody to, like, question my work ethic, or, like, I make myself seem like I'm not capable of doing the things that I'm asked to. And, like, me and Liv, honestly, we do handle a pretty good amount of stuff. I mean, for two people, for sure. Like, it is a lot. And so I think it was just, like, something that, like, slipped through the cracks. And I literally, like, I'm one of those people where it's, like, I'm not going to hide it. I'm literally going to look at you and just be like, I did this. I fucked up. I'm sorry. And, like, I'll take it. And yesterday, I was just like, you cried. And I literally started crying. And, like, I don't cry at work. Like, I don't do that. And so I literally just started crying, and I was like, I felt terrible.
It's just, like, a perfect example that, like, emotions just overcome you sometimes. And I think society teaches us to, like, hold it in and just be like, you're fine, don't even talk about it. Because I even know, like, for my parents, like, growing up, my parents definitely thought something was, like, hella wrong with me when I was young because of how much I cried and how bad my anxiety was. And it's not at all that they would try to suppress it. Like, they were definitely very much like, you know, get your feelings out. But there's just this, like, societal stigmatism where you're, like, not supposed to share your breakdowns. You know what I mean? And it's, like, totally okay to just let it out. Like, yesterday, you made a boo-boo, you were completely overwhelmed, and you just wanted to cry about it because you were frustrated. And that's so fine. And I literally was like, let it out, girl. I gave you a hug.
I know.
That's a once a year hug.
Liv
you don't
does
get
not
one for the rest of the year.
Liv does not hug anybody.
That was a once a year.
She
and I literally, you're sitting in the office and Viera's, like, crying. And she's like, I made a mistake. And she's, like, crying in the office. And I was standing there and I was like, do I hug her?
No, literally, you are that, like, movie clip of the guy and the girl's, like, crying over the toilet and he has the broom and he's like, there. That's literally you. That is legitimately
No,
you.
I was like, it's fine.
She was like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. No. But that is another thing. And also, even just to touch on, like, just, like, mental health in general and, like, work, too, and, like, how stressful work can be. Like, I literally was just talking to my cousin about it this morning, about the situation that I had happen yesterday. And she works in HR, and she was just like, mistakes happen. Like, the mistakes are going to happen. Right. It's good that you know, caught it, you learn from it. Like, it's just another thing on your plate that you're going to learn from. And it's like, that's something that's huge that I've had to go through, like, mentally at work, where, like, I'm so nervous to, like, be on my A game and be impressive all the time. But it's like, if you screw up, it's a learning lesson. Like, you just learn from it and you move on and you don't make the mistake again.
Yeah. And I definitely, like I said, I shared with you guys, if you were following my stories at all on Monday, then you kind of saw at the beginning of the day, I was only posting, like, happiness. Like, I'm so excited. Today's going to be so perfect because it's my engagement shoot. And I felt so icky.
You deleted it. I saw that.
I deleted it.
One and I literally saw it was gone. I was like, dang.
Because I was like, because you know what, guys? I'm not okay. And I was like, and I hate, like, being fake. It's just not me. I'm a Scorpio. I'm going to be as real and raw up front. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to handle that. And that's okay. Yeah. But I literally was like, you know what? No, this day is not going perfect. And I know, like, you know, it's such a special photo shoot. Like, it's your engagement photo shoot. It's going to be so special. And I was like, you know what? No. Like, shit is just not okay. Shit, every 5 minutes I was getting a text message about something that was out of my control that was going wrong. And I was like, I can't do this. Right. So I was really glad that I took that down and that I shared it, because the response that I got from you guys was absolutely overwhelmingly positive in such a good way. It was so beautiful to see how many people were like, girl, I'm fucking struggling too. And I was like, you know what? Sometimes we forget that, like, behind the lens, there's so much more going on in everybody's life. And, like...
Instagram is not real.
Not real
it's
at
not
all.
Real.
And, like, that's why I was like, this feels so wrong posting that I'm just, like, this happy, perfect person right now. Like, no, I'm having I'm not... Call 911. I'm not okay. Call somebody. She's not good. I was like, give me a straight jacket. Send me to the bed. I was like, I am not good. And it was, like I said, it was just, like, really special to see how many people were, like, opening up about some of the struggles that everyone on this earth is going through right now. And you know what? Like, humanity is hurting right now. There is just, like, this weird tension. And actually, one of my clients, she was, like, sending me these articles about, like, there's some people that believe something is shifting in the moons and the stars and the universe, and, you know, the planets aligned, like, a couple months ago. So I don't know if something all got, like, twisted or what, but, like, I have been on edge about everything lately. And, like, to the point where, like, I feel my shoulders up here throughout the day. And I'm just like...
and your chiropractor noticed it too. My God.
Yes!
He's like, you have the range of a 75-year-old man.
Yeah, I'm just like, nope. I'm so tense. So it's so interesting because I definitely felt alone in that moment when I first originally was having this just, like, meltdown at my house. And then as soon as I decided to take it public and, like, share that with everybody, it was so great to not feel alone.
Well, and that,
like,
kind of leans into our question too, one of my first questions, which is, like, what do you do when you get so overwhelmed with life, and how do you cope? Which is, like, I feel like you almost kind of took that opportunity yesterday to, like, make it public and share your feelings and be like, this is what I am. I'm a fucking hot mess right now.
Right.
Help! Somebody help me. Like, you know, that's
because,
what you did.
Yeah, no, that's such a good example because, you know, the question is, like, how do you cope with it, right? She's, like, saying, how do you cope with it when life gets overwhelming? Honestly, let's just start with this. Maybe you just don't. You know what I mean? Maybe sometimes shit is
just... what feels right in the moment.
Yeah, sometimes stuff is just so overwhelming that maybe it's, like, sometimes you just can't cope. And that's also just okay. Like, I'm not saying, obviously, you know, do something dramatic, but I'm saying, like, if you just need to, like, stop, because this is what I had to do. I literally, so Zach came out, he was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And Zach is very well versed in dealing with my meltdowns. It's been 9 years of this, and that man knows exactly what to do. He literally will, like, sit me down on the floor with him, and we sit together and we hold hands, and I just cry, and he just, like, stays quiet and lets me cry, and he just knows that, like, whatever I need from him, he's gonna help me with. And honestly, that would be, like, step number one, is find your safe person, because a lot of times...
Ooh, I have something to touch on that too.
Yeah, like, a lot of times, like, you may not know who your safe person is, and sometimes that can make you feel more alone. And, like, it doesn't have to be, like, a romantic partner. It could be, like, a best friend. Because I know, had Zach not been there, I literally can call you and you would have done the same thing. So I say, step one, find your safe person. What do you want to touch on that?
So I think you're right, 100%. But I also think because I've spent this last year completely, I mean, not, like, alone. Obviously, I have you, I have my friends, my family. I've been living in a house all by myself, one that I bought last year. You have to make yourself your safe person before you can find your other safe person. Like, I went through so much shit living in that house by myself, nights where I was, like, mentally unwell, not okay. And sometimes I didn't even want to call my safe person. Like, I didn't even want to call one of my best friends or my mom or anybody, because I was like, I need to learn to, like, cope with these feelings by myself, because that's, like, something I always worry about. It's like, what if there is one day where you are going to be, like, alone. I mean, I know that's, like, kind of deep and dark, but, like, I feel like you have to find comfort in yourself and learn how to self-soothe before you can even really, like, have that safe person, you know?
I agree with that, because I've been dealing...
And you honestly taught me that.
Yeah, I've been dealing with all of these mental illnesses, like, since I was little, before I met Zach. Yeah, no, I'm sure it came out the womb and they were like, she's gonna be a problem.
Hey, look at that head.
You want to know what's crazy? You want to know what's wild, though? My parents tell me all the time that I was not a crying baby, that I was, like, a very calm, relaxed baby.
I was like that too.
And they literally were like, wait, she's gonna be so easy. Plot twist.
That was the most dramatic thing I've ever seen in my life.
So much therapy. It was crazy.
Oh my God. Plot twist.
No, but I have been dealing with these, like, mental, like, illnesses since I can remember. I mean, I literally was like a child dealing with some of this darkness, and like I did have to learn how to self-cope before I could learn to find that safe person. And you know what? Sometimes your safe person may not be the person you might think society wants it to be. Like, everyone says, like, oh, it's your family. It was not my family.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It's not that for everybody either.
Your safe person or your safe space is also super important because, you know, like you said, maybe you don't have a person you can rely on in your life. So where is your safe space? Where can you go in this world where you can sit down for a second and be entirely vulnerable and feel safe while letting go? Where? Mine's at TJ Maxx.
The rage room.
The rage room? My safe space. My safe space
is where I can break a bunch of shit.
That was really fun. I do remember doing that. That was so fun.
We did that right after my breakup last year, and it was
so much fun. It was so exciting.
It was great.
Yeah. No, but I definitely think like either a safe person or a safe space is like number one. When you're feeling overwhelmed, there's like almost nothing that will calm you down, and so you have to get somewhere where you can have this meltdown, because let's be real, sometimes the meltdown's like building up and there's no stopping it's like a tsunami that's like the wave is like cresting. It's not gonna stop. It's crashing. It's gonna crash, and that's okay. Crash. Let it burn. But find a place where you can do that safely, where you are not going to feel even more anxiety,
like overwhelmed.
Yes.
And so mine's my bed.
Yeah. There you go. See, for a lot of people, it's their bed.
That's why I try and make my room like as cozy and as personalized as possible.
Same.
Because it's the one place that like nobody else gets to be in but me.
Yes.
You know, so it's like that's my like my area.
And so like I think it's more realistic to assume that you're not going to necessarily avoid having mental breakdowns or meltdowns or like the crash out. Like, it's gonna happen to everybody at some point. Even the most perfect people who look like they got it all together probably have their moments. They may not share them publicly with everybody, but they probably have a space that they can call their safe space. And that's huge to be able to have that. So that would be definitely like a big thing for me. And then for me personally, in regards to her question where she was like, how do you cope with it? Something that has helped me in the past, that is literally what I do right after I have like a full-blown crash out, is writing a list of what I need in that moment. And I know that sounds so weird because I'm a list writer. I'm a
post-it note writer.
Yeah, post-it notes so dead.
Oh my God.
I'm a pen and paper kind of girl, and I start writing down what's bothering me, what can I do to fix it, what are my next steps. I'm also like, I'm a very like type A structured person, so in order to move past my meltdown, I needed to immediately start figuring out the next steps, because like, yeah, of course I had a moment where I was just crying and everything was, you know, crazy, but I was like, okay, but also like the photographer's already paid and the boat's being canceled, so I got to figure something else out in a matter of a couple hours, because it has to happen today. It's the day off. It's the day that Zach and I planned. I had it planned for months. There was no way around it. So once I started like calming down from like all the crying and everything, then I was like, okay, what's next? So like I literally took out my phone. I have so many notes on my phone, it's crazy. And I literally just started typing like, okay, what am I wanting out of the photo shoot? Where can I get this? What can I do? And that helps me get through the rest of the meltdown, is like processing it and visualizing it and writing it out and like telling myself, okay, Olivia, we're going to figure out something next. So I feel like having that process for yourself is how you can get past that breakdown and that like crash out, because otherwise you might just keep spiraling. If you don't have some sort of process or you know, safe space or something that can help get you to the next phase of the meltdown, which is hopefully recovery and healing and moving past what just upset you, you're going to be stuck in that like black cloud of energy for like the whole rest of the day. Yeah, possibly even further than that. So that would be my biggest resolution, would be finding what process can get you past the point of inconsolable rage and frustration. And it was so funny because like Mary was texting me this morning and she was like, like, good luck on your podcast, because her and I have always connected on mental health too, and so I'm sure she knew that like, you know, having a very public meltdown like that and then coming on to talk about it, like, it is not easy, guys. Like, I'm being very vulnerable. I am, like, opening my heart and, like, laying it all out here for everyone to just share their own opinions, which can be very awful and scary sometimes. But she was like, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to go on my podcast after I just had, like, a public meltdown. She was like, well, why have a public meltdown? Or why have a private meltdown when you can have a public one? And I was like, you know what? Slay. That's on branding. That's on branding. That's personal brand.
Mm-hmm. Period.
So, okay, so we had a couple more questions from some of the people, and we wanted to touch on some of them.
I feel like these two kind of go together. This one was, like, kind of already answered.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, it was, how do you deal with poor self-body image and body dysmorphia, and then how do you gain confidence back in yourself after being so down about yourself physically?
Yeah, so we had asked on my stories following the meltdown, I was like, you know what are you guys dealing with? What can we help you guys with? And I got like an overwhelming outpouring of support, response, and also just some of you guys that were sharing some of the things that you're really struggling with right now, which I thought was so special to have so many strangers open up to me in my DMs. It was really, really special. I even had a girl that was like, I'm all the way from South Africa. I love your profile. I'm an esthetician also, and this is something I've been struggling with. And we just connected over DMs, and it was so like, just like special. I just felt like I knew this person suddenly. I'm like, if I'll ever go to South Africa, I'll come see you.
Oh my God.
So, you know, I find it really special that some of you guys found a safe person like with me, that you were comfortable enough to open up about those things. So this was one that really stuck out to us, was talking about like body dysmorphia and how
something we both definitely dealt with and still deal with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you have never dealt with body dysmorphia, again, love that journey for you.
Could never be me.
Could never know what that's like. I do think a lot of times I portray myself as very comfortable and confident in who I am in my body and everything, but that does not mean that I have not also struggled with my body image and body dysmorphia. I think, again, especially in my generation, where we unfortunately grew up with a really unhealthy time in the 90s, where like we were talking about, like Pop-Tarts, Gushers, toaster strudels, all these horrible things that like I also think are linked to like sugar addiction and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But then also I think
they did do a study on those food dyes.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
because I think in a sick way also, mentally, I also depended on those things.
Well, because that's what they came out with. So I watched this TED Talk of this woman, and she was talking about how she did a study on her own son and how he reacted to eating different food dyes like each week. And like blue was like this reaction, red was this reaction, yellow was this reaction, and he had all these different types of things.
Okay, but that's kind of crazy.
No,
like,
I know.
Use your own son.
Well, he was already eating it. He was already eating it. So
she's like, you know what? My kid's already fucked up.
No,
I'm gonna put a test.
He was already eating it, so she was like, eh. But like, she did this whole thing, and it was
nice thing. Where is he at? Shout out to him. He's in hella therapy
this
now.
Poor kid, literally. But no, he was like, I guess like before she like brought him to the doctor, and the doctor was like, he has ADD, he has ADHD, he has this, like all these like basically like just like mental health stuff.
I had all those.
Yeah, and so then she like cut out all food dyes, she cut out like all these other different things, and he's like a completely normal, like very successful, smart kid now. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, it makes sense. That's why my mom didn't let me eat any of that shit when I was younger.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like,
yeah.
So when it comes to body image and dysmorphia, how do you feel like you feel better about yourself? Because personally, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
I just like thought of this suddenly. Me personally, I don't know about you, but we went on a hot girl walk yesterday, and like afterwards, I literally was like, I'm so skinny now.
Walks 4 miles. Oh
no, not even. It wasn't even 4 miles.
I thought it was 4 miles.
It was like 1.7.
It was 1.7 on the way there. Okay, so it's like 3.5.
Yeah, which was cracking me up because at the end of it, you and I both were like, that had to be at least 17
miles. We were like, whoa. We were like, that was kind of long.
We walked so far, and I was like, at the end of it, I was like, that had to be at least 26 miles. That was a marathon. That was a marathon. And it was like from coffee pot to Fresco's.
I can't.
And then we had happy hour. But I find that when I am struggling with my body image, something that does help me boost a little bit is like just moving, like getting out and moving, like going and doing like a small workout just so I feel
like better.
Yeah. And that's totally something that is like, and it's not like I'm going to the gym trying to like pump a bunch of like weights and like do something crazy, but like literally just going for a walk yesterday, I felt so good afterwards. Like body wise.
This is why I'm doing that 3 to 4 times a week now.
Same.
I'm like, I just feel
I'm going
way
tonight.
better after.
Yeah. It's just like whatever you can do to get moving will also really help with just kind of also feeling better.
When I think in the moment sometimes too, and like this is like kind of on topic, kind of off topic, but I feel like if you're in a state where you're so like, and it doesn't even have to be about body dysmorphia or like just how you're feeling or anything like that, but like where you're like depressed or just like not, if you're like going through it just in life and you're just like sitting down and like not really doing a lot, you're gonna feel like shit. Like because that's where I was like in the middle of like my kind of semaglutide journey where I was still like losing weight. I still just felt like ass, but it's because I literally wasn't doing anything. Like I wasn't working out. I mean like I was eating better, but like I was working and I still wasn't working out. And now I'm doing 4 times a week, no matter what, 3-mile walk. I definitely want to at some point this year start lifting again because I know I need to, and I felt better like a couple years ago because I used to lift heavy, and I do want to get back into that, but like you don't realize how much better it makes you feel because all those endorphins start running, you get moving, you feel way better about yourself.
There's science behind
you
it.
get the fresh air, like go outside, take a damn walk. Like it's just it's good for you. So I mean I feel like even that, and it's like that's physical activity, that's cardio. Walking is literally better on your body than running is.
And something that's super important also is not having such strict restrictions on yourself when going through a mental breakdown, and not even just body dysmorphia, but using that as an example. If you're struggling with something and you're suddenly trying to like make all these like aggressive restrictions, you're gonna have a harder time feeling better because it's gonna be hard to stick to those restrictions, and then suddenly you're gonna feel worse because you're gonna be like, damn, I ordered some french fries and I can't even not eat those. And you're like, I told myself I was going to eat healthy. Like last night.
I got grilled chicken, you got grilled steak. And then we literally were like, but we got fries. But we were like, it's fine, we're going to walk it off.
Yep, literally. And it's like, you know what, that's okay. This one little plate of fries isn't gonna do what,
it's no.
And for me also, something I've always had to do is, and this is something you and I talked about the other day. Do not step on the scale. Don't do it. Like it's so unhealthy. I do it a lot. I get on the scale. I don't even have a
scale in my house. I won't do it because if I like how I look in the mirror and then I step on a scale and I'm upset about what the scale says, then I'm like, why did I just do that? I looked in the mirror and I just said I love the way I look, and then I'm stepping on the scale and now I feel like shit. Like, why would I do that to myself?
Also,
there's like no point.
Get rid of the scale.
Throw it away.
And if you just need like a good feel good moment, TJ Maxx at the Gateway Plaza has the best mirrors in the whole. I'm literally not even kidding you. I have driven to that like TJ at the Gateway Plaza. No, it's that one, not all of them, but the mirrors on the end caps in the women's section.
I'm
have literally walked in there before just to look at myself and been like, she looks good.
I love a skinny mirror.
A skinny mirror
is amazing.
A fun house mirror.
I have a fat mirror and a skinny mirror in your house, just as you do.
Yeah,
I have one in my closet.
You hate the one in my closet. I love that one.
She has this mirror in her closet, and it just makes me look 20 pounds heavier every time I walk in there. So you know what I do? I don't go in there.
Yeah, she doesn't look
I don't go in there because every time I look in it, I'm like, that's not what I look like. And I know that's not what I look like. So I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, don't set restrictions for yourself.
Yeah.
Understand
Be easy on yourself.
Yes, be easy on yourself and understand that the way you view yourself.
Oh, I gotta tell them about Megan Fox.
Megan Fox?
What you say in the mirror? The first time I went to Olivia's house, this is what she said to me.
It's giving Love is Blind.
She looked in the mirror, and this is when we both were like pre-semaglutide. This was like before that. And looked in the mirror, and she literally was just like looking at herself and like pushing her hair back and like taking her purse and like posing, and she was like, that is literally Megan Fox. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, right there. And I was like, Liv, what are you where? What do you mean? And she was like, in the mirror, me, that's Megan Fox. Like, if you literally, and I literally was like, oh my God, she's
No, she's Megan Fox wishes.
I was like, oh my, literally. She's like, she wishes she was that. But like, I feel like that also did teach me like a lot. Like even when like I was pre-semaglutide too, like I literally like looked in the mirror and I was like, ugh. But then I was like, you know what?
Give yourself
like,
grace.
Yeah,
give your body
if
grace.
You're confident, even when you don't feel your best, it changes your
mindset
and even how people look at you.
Do you know how many people that night probably were like, "That's Megan Fox"?
Right.
In my head.
Correct.
I was like, she wishes. But anyway, but
I loved that though.
Yeah,
like that was like huge. Like I loved when you said that. Like I thought it was great. I was like, period, slay.
You just have to.
I love
you have
that.
to. You are your biggest hype person.
Yeah.
So hype yourself up.
You have to be
because you are also your biggest critic. And if you continue to tear yourself down, then if you can't even be in your own corner cheering yourself on, how are you gonna get past
People
all
can
of it?
see it when you're insecure too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me just touch on something else really quick. If you are this big and you're standing next to somebody that you know is larger in size than you, don't sit there and be like, I'm so fat. Please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Because I cannot stand that. I've had people do that to me my whole life, and I literally cannot stand it because you know that you're standing there and you're a much smaller person than me and you're still choosing to sit.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Just stop it. Little story time, quick in high school. On my 16th birthday, and if my mom's watching this, she's gonna die laughing because she remembers when this happened. I had two best friends. They were not friends at all. They were shitty people that I thought were my friends. They showed up. They were older than me, so they had a car. So they came to pick me up on my 16th birthday, and they both were like this big, which love that for them. I've never been that big. I don't know what that's like. I've always been a curvy girl. It is what it is. So they show up to my birthday to pick me up, to take me out to dinner, and they're both wearing matching outfits. And I was like, oh, wow, so cute. So I thought that they brought me a matching outfit to wear with them so that the three of us could all match. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. Like, we're going to look so good. And they literally both look at me and they were like, they don't carry your size. And I remember...
The way I would have had that bitch's neck on a stage.
I remember just being like... and it didn't even register with me that they were trying to, like, basically fat shame me.
Yeah.
I just literally was like, they didn't have a large. Like, I literally was like, they must have been out of stock, man. So, you know what?
Oh my God,
you also have to be a little delulu because that does help you, because that really could have ruined the whole fucking rest of the day. And while those people were definitely not my friend, which I later in life realized, I didn't let it take me down because it was my birthday. I was going to enjoy my birthday.
That was on your birthday?
Yeah. On my 16th birthday.
Shut up.
Yeah, and it was like this little like outfit from like Charlotte Russe.
Oh my.
And I was like, they didn't have my size. What can you do? I was like, what? They didn't have Amazon back then. Like, couldn't order it. You know, what can you do?
Oh my God.
So that pretty much wraps up today. Today was definitely a good talk about just everything going on.
I think this is one of my favorite podcasts we've done so far.
Yeah, this was a really fun
episode.
This
was a good one.
And all it took was me just like having an absolute fucking meltdown.
I'm literally terrified right now. You know what we should do next time though? The thing where you put in your questions, oh my gosh, this is what's going on in my life with this guy, and we give you dating advice.
Yeah.
We need to do that next time.
If you need advice on anything, guys, DM me because I can keep track of it for the next couple of episodes.
Tell us a spicy, crazy story because I want to.
Next week, though, I will say I have a special guest next week. It is one of our longtime family friends, Kevin. He is somebody who is near and dear to me and Zach, and he also struggles with mental health, and he wants to come on and talk about, like, the stigmatism surrounding men in mental health. So I think that will be also like a really fun and interesting topic to talk about. Next week's episode is going to be really, really cool. So stay tuned.
The week after then.
Yeah, the week after when you're back on. Yeah. And then I have some more special guests coming on. So I'm really excited because May, I have several people. So we got a lot of new faces coming on to the show. So if there's somebody that you want to see on my episode, send them to my DMs. Let them know that I'm looking for people. I've got pretty much May and June booked, but July and in the summer we can get some more guests on here. So super excited as always to see you guys. And hey, if you're having a mental breakdown, just give me a call. I'll cry with you, to be honest. I can cry at any point. I can cry on demand.
I feel like I can start crying
right now.
We both just said that.
I'm done. We'll just
We're literally
crying.
in the back like this. Oh my God.
Okay.
It's done.